Hello to everyone. Thank you for stopping by. I wanted to talk to you today about For What It's Worth. You know, back in the 1960s, there was a band that had got together. They'd come up with this idea for a song. And on this song, they had a tune. It would just go over and over again and repeat itself, what we call looping. Well, they did this and they liked it. And they was trying to come up with an idea for a band name for the band. Well, they had walked outside and they was looking around. They was talking. And they looked over and they saw this construction crew had these big machines and they were watching them going back and forth, back and forth. And one of them pulled up a big one and stopped, and they were a bright burnt orange colored machines, huge, road movers, things like that. It's a construction equipment. And they saw on the side of it, it said Buffalo Springfield Company. So they decided, hey, let's call ourselves Buffalo Springfield. Well, to them, Buffalo Springfield was, a profitable company. They did real well. They were established. So they thought, yeah, why not? So they went into the studio and everything, and they recorded For What It's Worth, and it became extremely popular in the United States of America, and it spread all over the world. They got to do all kinds of touring all over the world from that one song. Well, you're saying, well, what does this have to do with retirement and things like that? Well, I'd like to tell you it's for what it's worth. Do you remember back in the 1960s, way back when? Remember that we were all going to stay young. We'd never get old. Why, we were super beings. Yeah. Why, we weren't ever going to get old. We were never going to have sicknesses, or we'd never have to use a cane when we walk or a walker, and that we would never need assistance from anyone in any way, shape, form, or manner. And not only that, but our parents would never get old. No. Why, our dad, he was always going to be there for us. Well, we could go over there. We could go fishing, go hunting. We could go over there and talk to our dad anytime we wanted to. I remember my dad used to call me and say, son, you haven't been by to see me. Well, I had a band then. We were busy, and I had believed the lies of the youth that we all have, and that the young people nowadays, they're going through the same lies of youth that we went through. God help them. I only pray that they will not make the mistakes that we all did. Of course, that's the way it is with all of humankind. My dad used to tell me, son, about the only school I think I've ever done any good at and ever been in all my life is the School of Hard Knocks. And I thought about that. My dad told me that back in, I guess it was 1966, might have been 65. I think it was summer 1965. I worked for a company for 35 years, and my wife died, and she had cancer. She suffered for 26 years with it. And I remember they came to me, and I was talking retirement. They didn't want me to. They gave me a month off with pay, told me to think about it. Well, I thought about it okay. That enabled me to practice retirement. And friend, I loved every minute of it, not having to get up, drive in that traffic and in all kinds of weather. Well, they sweetened the pot. They offered me more money. They wanted to put me in total, complete charge of all tool crib administration, every bit of it, all of it. And I was responsible for everything, inventory, calibrations. We did Department of Defense work. So everything had to be according to naval specifications, United States Air Force specifications, All the military of the United States, we had to be up to par, and everything we had to be calibrated correctly. And they expected me to stay there and to go ahead and do that work. They wanted me to stay until I had like 53 to 55 years with the company. And they sweetened the pot. They offered me a lot of money, but my wife had died, and I talked to the head man. He came down to labor relations, and he said, "Listen, we don't want you to go. We'd like for you to stay." And I told him, I said, "Sir, the only reason I ever had for working was my precious wife that I love, and she is deceased now. I had to work here, and I had to put up with what all of you people put me through all those years. And y'all put me through things that should never have been put on anyone. What you people did to me was ungodly and filled with evil." And I said, "Sir, I am retiring." And anyway, the labor relations woman looked at me, and he got up and stood there, and he adjusted his collar and everything. "Well, okay, and he turned around and walked on off. Well, I got a month's vacation with pay, plus that 1 month was added to my retirement. So you see how God blesses us? But you know what? I love retirement. I'm so happy being retired. And I know you will be too. If you haven't retired quite yet, you're thinking about it, go ahead and do it. Why, it'll be the best decision you ever made in your life. And friend, you deserve this. You've worked all your life. You've put up with all kinds of things. And if you're like me, you went to work when you was sick. I used to work all the overtime I could. Well, I worked 7 days a week. Sometimes I worked 12, 14 hours a day. Didn't think anything about it. And several times in my years of employment, I had 35 years. We had many 18-hour days. I didn't think anything about it because everybody else that I worked with were doing the same thing that I was doing. So I was busy all the time. And like I said, my little daddy called me one day and he said, "Son," I said, "Yeah, you haven't come to see me?" "Well, Dad, I'll get over there as soon as I can, Dad. I've been real busy." So, okay. Well, one day, me and my wife, we were newlyweds, got a knock at my front door. We walked out front. My daddy had pulled up. He got out of the car, and I had this horrible feeling in the pit of my stomach. It hit me real hard. And my heart kind of, you can kind of tell when something's not right. Something's dead wrong. Well, the next thing I know, my daddy, he come to the door and he said, "Son, I'm terminally ill. I've got lung cancer in both lungs, stage 4. I'm fixing to die." Well, friend, I'm sure you've been through it. You that have lost your loved ones, like me, possibly your spouse, you widows, I know what you're going through. And you widowers, I know exactly what you're going through. We've got to put our trust in God and put 1 foot forward and keep going on. But I wanted to come on today and just talk to each and every one of you about the enjoyment of being retired. How that now you can do things. You can visit your grandchildren, your great-grandchildren. You can do things that you've always wanted to do. And that is the many joys of being retired. But back to For What It's Worth. I was listening to that song the other day. It came on, and I thought, wow, I remember that, as I'm sure you do too. They say, "There's something happening here. What it is ain't exactly clear. There's a man with a gun over there. telling me I got to beware. Sounds like today, don't it? Sounds just exactly like the hour that you and I have found ourselves in here in 2024. I feel for all of our grandchildren and our great-grandchildren. I pray for all of them. I've heard of all kinds of things. We got a big eclipse coming up. Everybody's predicting doom. Grandpa, it's doom. Run for your life. The sky is falling. We're all going to die. Well, all I can say is we'll see. But you know something? There ain't none of us going to get out of this world alive. Why, you know that just as well as I do. I mean, I'm not an advocate for death or dying. I despise death. I hate death. I wish that the Lord God had made it to where that when people passed away, reached the end of their life, that they just suddenly, poof, they were gone. There was no body to look upon. There was no mangled person laying there all bent up in the throes of sickness and death and dying and the rattling sounds of pneumonia of a dying person. Friend, I've been there. I visit a lot of people. I have a ministry on that. I pray for people that nobody prays for. I go to people. I've gone to places in Weatherford, Texas. They have a place for stroke victims. And I've gone there and prayed with many of them, helped them do their assignments and things like that. They have to put round pegs in round holes and square pegs in square holes, you know. But I spend time with them. I pray with them and talk with them and try to encourage them all I can. But I just wanted to talk to all you wonderful people. Please hit the like button and please do subscribe. Help my channel to grow. I appreciate every one of you. I want to thank you all for dropping in. And if you are thinking about retirement, go right ahead and do it, friend. You won't regret it after you get out there retired. I've been retired 6 years now. And I'm kind of wishing now that I'd retired even earlier than what I did. If I'd known it was going to be this wonderful, I would have. Well, listen, I'll catch you on the next video. Thank you for stopping by. Bye to everyone from Texas. I appreciate each and every one of you. Bye-bye for now.